Good afternoon and good morning if you're in one of those time zones. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, July 9th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock, your host, and I'm glad you're here. And I've got everybody on the screen now. And as I said, it's Sunday, July, and nice hot day here in Florida. And I hope you're comfortable wherever you are. We need some rain badly. Send some if you've got some. Anyway, we got a lot to cover today, as usual. I always have more on my list than I need. Steve Parker, you've got your hand up. If it's about signing in, I know.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I just noticed where you had Windows 1 and 3.5 and all the rest of it. You missed off Millennium. Windows NE.
You know, I only had so many of the logos. I only had so much room, and I did that screenshot a long time ago, and I'm just leaving it alone.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing. Most people don't, and we'll leave
I
it
know
at
most
that.
people skipped right over Millennium because
Yeah.
it was a bitch to get stable.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen again. I have everything preset, so I just click open URLs. And you can see it's opening everything we're going to cover or try to cover today. That makes it a lot easier, and they're all there. So to start with, here is my website in the Huey's Views and Reviews page of the WinSIG, and that's where I list all of the items, and there's links on that page. In the newsletter, it lists them all, but they're not linked. And then for last month, here are all the items that I wanted to cover. We didn't get to all of them, but also just under that is a link to the video on YouTube. So if you can't find it in YouTube itself, just come to the WinSIG page and click on that. It will take you to YouTube so you can watch it. Now
Sorry, but I can't see anything.
Am I sharing? Yeah. Is
Yes,
anybody
you
else
are
having-
sharing. Yes, you are sharing.
You're
We're
fine.
seeing okay.
Okay, somebody's got
Thank
to,
you.
I don't know what's wrong, but you're for whatever reason, it depends on what you're on and so on. I don't know why you're not seeing it. Anyway, I only have room for 6 months on a page, 6 months and a half. And I've got my half, but if I want to go to put the video on, it's not going to fit. So everything from January to June will go on a separate page, and you'll be able to link to it by going to, and it gets involved, but you can go back and you can see how
Okay.
I've done it in previous months. So it's an archive. So I'll be changing that sometime this month. So if you go back to look for June, it may be on a different page. July will be on this page, which is the WinSIG page. Okay, and then I mentioned earlier, if you go to the home page, you will see subscribe to our WinSIG monthly newsletter, and just fill in your where to go. Just fill in your email address, first name and last name, and you'll get put on the list, and that's a MailChimp, and it automatically will send it to you every month. Okay, so that's my website. I think I'll leave that open. We'll just go to the first item on the list. Actually, we're going to go to the first 3 items. The first one is Microsoft is planning to put Windows in the cloud for consumers. The second one is Microsoft wants to move Windows fully to the cloud. And the third one says, no, Windows is not moving to the cloud, on 3 different websites. What it boils down to is somebody started a rumor that Microsoft wanted to go to the cloud for Windows, something similar to what a Chromebook is, I guess. But they're currently in court over an acquisition of Activision and Blizzard with the Federal Trade Commission, which is attempting to block that. And there's it started a bunch of rumors. And at this point, no one knows for sure if they're trying to get to a Windows internet-based Windows or not. But the likelihood is there is no indication right now that Windows will turn into a streaming only product. There are so many use cases where that just wouldn't be practical. Gaming, user-connected hardware, areas with poor internet connection, and so on. So that would almost certainly destroy Windows and the hardware manufacturers that rely on PC sales. So Microsoft knows it wouldn't work. PC manufacturers that pay to license the Windows knows it wouldn't work. And we know it wouldn't work, the people who wrote this article. So with that in mind, whoever Microsoft wrote this presentation probably meant move Windows to the cloud as more as duplicate Windows in the cloud, because you can do Microsoft Office in the cloud or you can have it on your computer. So if you see those rumors and those articles about it, basically it's not true. Let's see. Let me go ahead and close this so I don't have as many open. Maybe things will respond better. Microsoft listens to feedback and restores options that cut from Windows 11. Now, I try to get this into the reader mode, and for whatever reason, it won't read it that way. So let's do it with this one instead. Come on, there we go. And we'll make it larger. I think. Okay, the article is Microsoft listens to feedback and restores options that cut from Windows 11. And what it may often be accused of ignoring user opinion, but the latest dev build of Windows 11 illustrates how Microsoft not only listens to feedback, but acts on it. And so just last week, Microsoft released a build of Windows 11 that removed various options from the advanced settings section of folder options in File Explorer. And they've basically put them back. Let's see if it tells you what they are. It said Microsoft's listening and acting on feedback. It's far from unknown, but this change of heart came in record time. In all, 9 settings were removed that have been returned. Always show icons, never thumbnails, display file icon on thumbnail, display file size information and folder tips, hide folder merge conflicts, hide protected operating system files, show drive letters, show encrypted or compressed NTFS files in color, and show pop-up description for folder and desktop items, and use sharing wizard. So in their testing, they shut those features off and they've put them back in. So most of us won't know anything about this and it won't affect us at all. But if you're doing the testing and you're getting the dev builds or the other builds for testing, you may have noticed some of these things disappear and now they're coming back. Now that's all that article is about. And for those of you now, this was on June 27th. I don't know, they may have even done an update since then, because usually it's on Tuesdays, but they added a bunch of new things in this article. The KB, by the way, means knowledge base, and the numbers are which one it is, and they keep adding to them, of course. And this talks about the update expands the rollout notification badging for Microsoft accounts on the start menu. You probably don't do the badges and you probably don't even notice it. The new update improves the sharing of a local file in File Explorer with Microsoft Outlook contacts. So again, if you don't use Outlook, it's not going to affect you. And this also updates live caption for different languages. And the update redesigns the in-app voice access command help page. So if you don't use that, again, you won't notice anything. And then this update adds voice access command support for the following English dialects: English United Kingdom, English India, and so on. This update adds new text section and editing voice. And so to do this, you do this. You say this. To do this, you say this. So they've changed a few things. You can read on down if you want to see what was added in that knowledge base. But more than that, I would like you to know that these knowledge bases exist. Now, to find out which ones you have installed, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Settings, and then you go to Windows Update. Probably shouldn't do this. Well, good. You'd have to check for, but you look at Update History. And it shows you everything it got in, that got installed. And here's some of the updates. This is for June 2023. And you'll see here at the end of it, it tells you the KB number. And then you can search for that KB number or knowledge base number and see what does that particular one do. You see the 14th, the 28th, there was 2 on the 14th, 3 on the 14th. And then there wasn't one on the 7th, but there was on the 31st of May. And then the major updates are here on the top. But these are the quality updates that you get. And every one of them shows the KB number. So if you want to know what got installed or what changed when an update happens, you can go and look it up. So we'll close this. And before we go to the next article, let's see if there's any comments, questions, and so on. So if you have a question, raise your hand. And that means we're using the reactions at the bottom. If you don't have those, just go like this and hopefully I'll see you. If you have your camera on. If you don't have your camera on, I can't see you.
Besides that knowledge base, it also has a blue text that says learn more. You can click on that and it'll tell you what the knowledge base has in it.
Okay, anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, let's go back to, yes, Ted, unmute. Unmute. Unmute, Ted. We don't hear you. He's trying to figure out how to unmute on his iPad. Should be an I'm. Now we're not hearing you, Ted. I'll come back to you a little bit. Okay, let's screen share again. And the next article is Clipchamp has your video editing needs in one place. So what is Clipchamp? It's from, of all places, Microsoft. Well, let's make this in reader mode. Let's see if it's going to let us. We go to reading list and come down here to reading mode, and then we'll make it bigger. And then we can see what the article is about. And we can also see the pictures. So Clipchamp has all of your video editing needs in one place. Lights, camera, action. Your Microsoft 365 subscription includes the premium access to Clipchamp, the quick and easy video editor designed for novices and experts alike. Now, I haven't learned how to use this because I use a program called Camtasia.
Camtasia. I was just going to,
yeah. Sometimes the words escape me for a moment, but I use Camtasia and I know how to use it. And so I don't like to learn another video editor. And so I haven't learned this, but if you don't have a video editing program, this is one that should do everything you need to do to edit movies and videos. Clipchamp empowers you to tell your story your way. Now you can create professional looking videos with no experience or skills required. Access a huge range of templates, editing tools, and premium royalty-free content with your Microsoft 365 subscription. So those of you who have the Office subscription, you can get it for free. It's part of your Office 365, or now called Microsoft 365. You can connect your content with Microsoft. You can level up your videos at no extra cost. I'm not sure if it's available in a limited format or form. If you don't have that subscription, it may still be available, but not all of the items for it. So I haven't tested that. If one of you knows, please speak up.
It comes with Windows 11 now. And
Okay, you don't have to.
You get a basic version of Clipchamp with not as many features.
Okay, that's good to know. So you have a video editing program that's part of Windows. So, and if you have the Office or Microsoft 365, then you have the advanced version of it. And you can view it online if you do that. I guess it doesn't do anything when I click that, or did it open something? Or it's still trying to do something. No, okay. I thought that would take us to it, but anyway, so let's go to the next item.
Just real quick, I wanted to say that I have played with it. We have it at the Windows 11 systems at the Computer Club. It's an interesting little, the pared down version that comes free. It's a decent little video editor, and I haven't been, I went with my new machine. I'll have Windows 11 and I'll try it on that too, just so that I can share it with the membership. But it's a nice little video editor. I don't think they're right when they say that it's, ease of use and you don't have to have a skill set. You have to kind of have an idea of what a video process is and how to do it. So it's not quite as simple as they say it is.
Isn't it all just on the web though? Isn't it all just on the web when you're on the free one?
No, it's on it's on the computer.
No, but I mean, because I tried to use it once and it told me I have to save it to my OneDrive, and I didn't want to do that. So I just stopped using it.
Oh, okay. OneDrive is just another place to store stuff. That's all.
Yeah, it's probably connected to OneDrive to save the files, and there are some ways in OneDrive to shut that off.
Mm-hmm.
OneDrive is so confusing. I don't know. I know how to use it, but I don't know how to explain it, and so I have not talked about it a lot.
Well, use it, but you only get so much. You only get so much. I think it was 5 gigs you get, unless you're
you get 5 gigs.
365, then you get 1 terabyte. But if you're doing videos, you're not going to be putting videos up there. You'll use up your 5, and then Microsoft goes.
And you can always
buy it.
And you can always remove them from OneDrive and put them on an external drive or put them someplace else on the computer.
Right. I've done that also.
Yeah, there is an option in Clipchamp to download the files to your computer.
Yeah. Because if I get a big video, I've just put on my OneDrive, send a link to who I want to send it to. Then I go on OneDrive after they look at it. Hey, email me back when you looked at it. Then I delete it from my OneDrive.
Yeah, but like Drew just said, there is a way to have it saved to your hard drive or to another external drive. And then I think you can buy chunks of space without having to purchase an expensive, well, it's not really expensive, but to get Office 365 or Microsoft 365, there are some ways I think you can get like 100 gigabytes or something like that. Because you can with a Google Drive, and I think you can with OneDrive as well.
Yeah, you can.
But yes,
you can buy space. Yeah,
it's the same price. It's $2 a month for 100 gigabytes.
Okay, this next one, busting the 8 biggest Windows myths. I thought this was a pretty good article because it's a lot of my see and hear about them. First one is USB sticks must be ejected. And many people claim that the USB storage media, such as flash drives and external USB drives, must be ejected via safely remove hardware. But this is still necessary, but is still necessary. Ejecting USB storage media ensures that the transferred and stored data remains intact. Nevertheless, people ignore this step and remove the stick without thinking. The additional step of properly ejecting it can be a nuisance, so it's often forgotten. which has caused error messages in the iterations of Windows. Microsoft recognized this problem and introduced a solution that it has made available in Windows 10 and 11 since October 2018. The new quick remove function allows external hardware to be removed at any time without having first to click safely remove hardware, and better yet, the setting is activated by default. Although this solution is very convenient and adapted to most people's needs, it has one major drawback. Quick remove no longer caches your data. Caching ensures a constant backup of the data, but slows down the transfer speed. So no, using safely remove hardware before yanking out a USB drive isn't required anymore. But I suggest you make sure that the data has been, if you're saving it to it or moving it from there to your computer, make sure it's not in the middle of doing that transfer when you remove it, because then you will have, you probably will have the file still on the drive, on the thumb drive, or the USB drive, but it may not have copied over to your computer correctly or completely. Myth 2, drives must be defragmented regularly. Another myth concerns the fragmentation of drives and data under Windows. It's often said that these drives must be defragmented regularly to maintain their speed, but defragmentation isn't even necessary today. Modern drives, especially solid-state storage SSDs, no longer need defragmentation. Newer drives store and retrieve data differently than the older drives. The way it did before is if it had some empty space on the drive, it plop in part of a file, and then somewhere else, another part of the file, and wherever it could find storage area, it would stick part of the file. And what defragmentation did was it moved everything around, so the file that was in little pieces and parts all over your hard drive were now congruous, and they were together. So on the older hard drives, data was stored on magnetic disks and had to be processed by moving read head and write head units. When the file was erased from the hard drive, gaps were created that could be used by other files. Over time, this led to fragmentation of files as they were stored in smaller fragments in different locations on the hard disk. Another way of saying what I just did. The aim of defragging the hard disk was to bring these fragments together and store them in one continuous file, which shortened the access time to the files. In contrast, SSDs store data in electronic memory cells arranged directly on the drive. There are no moving parts storing files in different locations, thus no fragmentation. So the answer is no on modern systems with SSDs. Defragmentation is no longer necessary and may even shorten the life expectancy of SSDs. That's why defragmentation is actually deactivated by default under Windows 10 and 11 if an SSD is installed in the system. You don't want to overwork an SSD because there's only so many times that you can write to it, and you don't need to defragment them anyways. Myth number 3, antivirus software slows down your PC. It's repeatedly claimed that installing antivirus software in Windows systems slows down your PC. But is this true at all? Installing antivirus software on a computer can cause the system to slow down because its software requires resources. If your antivirus performs regular scans, this can affect the operation of the computer and cause programs to start or respond more slowly. But modern antivirus programs have features that minimize system load by only becoming active when needed. In addition, many computers today have powerful processors and memory that are capable of handling the execution of antivirus software without noticeable delays. Nevertheless, it's important to note that not using antivirus software increases the risk of malware infections, which can affect the computer's performance and, in worst case, even destroy important data. Well-configured antivirus is therefore an important component for the security and stability of any computer. So no modern antivirus software no longer noticeably slows down your PC. This misunderstanding dates back to the time of Windows 95 and 98. Today, it's good to have an idea. It's a good idea to always keep antivirus running on your system. Windows game mode, I'm not going to go through all of this. If you run game mode to help your computer, you don't need to. There was a time where it could, but it no longer is needed. Google Chrome consumes a lot of RAM and slows down your Windows. This fits into the same thing. So using Chrome's RAM consumption can be reduced by taking measures such as closing tabs that are not needed or disabling extensions. There are people like Mike and I and Drew and probably Steve Parker that probably have 15, 20 or more tabs open on a browser. When that happens, yeah, that's going to slow down your system, but that's because you've got so much open and running. However, some of the newer versions of some of the browsers will kind of put to sleep a tab, and that may be something you want or not want. And so I'm thinking that may be a choice and a way you can turn that feature on or off. But you might want to think about closing up some of the tabs if you don't need them. Windows PCs get slower over time. And say, yeah, they can slow down over time, but it's nowhere as pronounced as some people seem to think, and driven primarily by running lots of software at once. There are measures that you can take to restore the performance to an increasingly slow Windows PC, such as removing unused programs, updating hardware, scanning for malware infections, and cleaning up your computer. And one of the things you might want to do is check your start programs and not start everything that automatically sets itself to start when you start your Windows. You may not need them anymore. I periodically do that. Now, how do you do that? Well, in Windows 11, you go to the Task Manager. And did it open? There it comes. And Startup Apps is over here on the left. And it shows me all of my startup apps. If you don't know what it is, always leave it alone, because it could be part of something that you need or that Windows needs. But let's say Mail Washer Pro, right now I've got it disabled because I'm having some issues with it and I'm working with their tech support. So I have it disabled. Normally, that would always have been enabled to start, but because it always asks me a question, I've disabled it and I run it manually. And same thing with anything else. The Jabra Direct, that was with some hardware, and I don't use that hardware now, so I've disabled it. I could even remove it. And then there are some that are enabled, and if I know what they are, I will leave them. If I don't know what they are, I might do a search to find out what a particular one does. But you can see disabled or enabled. So if it says enabled, that means when I start my computer, that startup app or that app will start up at the beginning. Now, I probably don't need Brave enabled, and if I want it, when I click it, it starts up at that. So if I click this, let's see, where do I change that? It's running slow, I guess. Oh, no, I right-click it, and I can disable it. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to remove it. If you aren't sure what it is, leave it alone. If you're not sure what it is, leave it alone. So that's another way to fix a slow PC. Myth 7, Windows 10 and 11 spy on you. And just to drop down to the answer, yes, Microsoft collects a large amount of telemetry data from Windows 10 and 11, some of which may be well considered personal data. Concerned people should carefully check their Windows privacy settings and adjust them accordingly. But saying Microsoft is guilty of targeted spying is going too far. And then Linux is fundamentally faster than Windows. Bottom line is no, it's not fundamentally faster than Windows. Both operating systems have their advantages and disadvantages. The answer to this question hinges completely on your usage needs. You got a lot of apps running in Linux, it's going to slow down. But in most cases, when you run Linux, you don't have a lot of things installed that are running, and so it seems to be faster. So that's that article. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's see, let's go back here. We've covered that. Well, let's take a discussion break and see if there's any comments, questions. Raise your hand or raise your hand. Mike, you're up
Just
first.
Dewey,
Yes.
go to Ted Godwin first. Goodwin,
Okay,
excuse
Ted.
me, sir.
Yep, Ked, you're unmuted now.
Okay, my question was, if you update Windows 11, are some of those KB programs installed with it?
Yes. Well, the upgrades will be there. The KB or knowledge base explains about them. That's not the actual update. That's just an explanation of the update.
But it comes with the update, right?
That if there's an update, there will be a KB for it. Yes.
Okay.
I think if I interpret Ted's question a little bit more, Ted, are you asking if you install an upgrade of Windows 11 into a Windows 10 system, will you have the latest upgrades? And if that's the question, it's a partial yes. The process of upgrading to Windows 11, the software will go out to the Windows repositories and attempt to get the latest upgrades that are appropriate. But there still will be, once it's installed, there still will be other downloads that are going to,
and take that a little bit further. If you have Windows 10 and it's in a Windows 11 update, it won't install it. But if it's one that's for Windows 10 and 11, then it will.
Well, I just did that the other day, and in the dialogue, right actually in the first boot before the system even rebooted itself the first time, it came up and said checking for updates, and it probably took about 3 to 5 minutes to go through, and it did get some, but after the installation was done, it still downloaded additional ones.
Well, sometimes one update needs to be done before another one can be updated. And so sometimes when you tell it update all, it will do some, but then you got to go back and find the ones that need to come after that.
Great.
Drew?
I just had a comment about keeping lots of tabs open. For those people who do, like me, use a lot of tabs in Windows, there's an excellent tab manager for browsers called Workona. It's Workona, and it's good at managing multiple windows with tabs in them. You can create custom workspaces and put those tabs in the workspaces, and they'll actually be available to you if you have, say, 2 computers. You can flip back and forth between the 2 computers and work on the same tabs. And it will also have an option to put tab windows that you haven't used in a while to sleep in the background so they don't stay in memory.
Yeah, if you would put a link to that in the chat for those who are interested. Mike?
Okay, well, we could start a 2-hour debate, so I'll just summarize it very quickly. Your last myth that said, is Linux, faster and use less resources than Windows? And they said, no, it just depends on the use. Well, I'll take issue with that. Taking equal hardware especially an older computer with less resources. There are versions of Linux installs, and Drew knows this too, that use way, way, way less resources than Windows does. And typically whenever I decommission a computer that's been running Windows, whether it's 7 or 10, and replace it with a newer one, just as I did with my wife, I'll take that older computer and put a version of Linux on it, and it's like a brand new computer. It runs very, very
Right, as a brand new computer. So if you put Windows on a computer from a fresh install, it will be as fast as Linux.
Well, okay, like I said, we could probably debate this for
Yeah.
another hour.
Or it's going to be pretty close. Yeah,
You know,
the
I
thing
mean,
is, the thing is, you keep adding things to it, it's going to slow it down.
My daily notebook is a Dell with only 128 gigs of storage and only 4 gigabytes of RAM. And it runs just about everything, including the online Windows application of Office 365 applications. But if I still had the Windows 10 on it, as it came from Dell originally, it was just totally unusable. So anyway,
Okay,
no need to debate it further. It's just
no, not a bit. Any other comments, questions? Won't give my voice a chance to rest. Okay. Okay, let's go to next. Yeah. Okay. Yet another reason not to use Edge. Let's see. I don't know why this is there, because the article here is different. Isn't that interesting? And we're in the reading mode. So let's take it out of the reading mode and then come back. See if it changes. No. All right, we'll just move this over and take it out of the reading mode. Now what happened? I ended up with a different article too. Okay, yeah, that's it. Microsoft adds new AI-powered shopping tools in Bing and Edge. Microsoft is introducing a new, let's see if I can make this with this and make it bigger. And get all the other stuff off the screen. Yeah, that'll work. Is introducing new AI-powered shopping features in its Bing search engine and Edge browser. The company's rolling out AI-generated buying guides across Bing and Edge, review summaries, as well as a new price match feature in the US. If many Edge users may feel that shopping features are just adding more bloat to what used to be a streamlined version of Chrome, Microsoft claims that its efforts are making the big difference for consumers. Microsoft Edge has offered $3.7 billion in savings to shoppers worldwide in the last year, thanks to built-in shopping features like coupons, cashback, price history, and price comparison. Plus, U.S. shoppers can save an average of $400 per year with the Microsoft Edge, the company said. Microsoft's new AI-generated buying guides can be accessed from the Edge sidebar and the Bing chatbot. Users can get started by typing what they want to purchase in the search box, and Microsoft's AI will search relevant products and summarize information about them in a smart compare table. This actually sounds quite useful. And then he says, when checking a product online, Edge users will also be able to ask Bing chatbot in the sidebar to summarize user reviews. At its Build developer conference last month, Microsoft announced a similar feature. Lastly, Microsoft will soon start rolling out a price match feature and so on. So some of these things aren't available yet, but they're coming. And to access Bing, from a PC has changed. To get the Bing AI, you really have to go over to Edge. And here's my Edge. And if you click this, that brings up the Bing. This is an Edge now. And then you can say, Mike, what am I looking for? A what? Anything. Got it? Suggestion?
65-inch TV.
Let's see what it says.
You got, oh, there it goes.
Yeah, it's working.
When I do that, it tells me I haven't used it yet. Just started my machine, go over to Bing and I want to search for something. It says, you reach your limit, come back tomorrow. I don't even get to use it.
You know, I'm not sure why. You may have to register for it. I don't recall. I'm not having that problem. I don't pay for anything extra with it.
Yeah, I registered. I was getting it before, you know. When I was
It
putting
could
out
be that,
before.
yeah, but you're in Canada, so that may be the reason.
No, I'm in Florida. I'm in Boynton Beach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were Murray. Who is it?
Bob Francis.
Oh, okay, Bob. Okay, I'm not sure why.
If I log in as a different user on the same computer, it works.
Yeah, because it's probably tied to your to your Microsoft account.
They're both
I don't know.
Microsoft accounts. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of weird. I know.
Yeah. Okay, but here there's many options for 60 for those that can't see that. Let's see if I can make it bigger. No, it makes the information bigger, but not the chat box. So anyway, it's saying there are many options for a 65-inch TV. Some of the best include, and it gives a Samsung number, which delivers fantastic picture quality and looks amazing with any content. And then there's, of course, there's a 1 there. That means there's a reference to it farther below. Another option is the TCL, and then let's see, and then the Walmart's collection, and so on. And then there are some advertisements and pricing, and then here's where the numbers are and where they got that information from. So it's a nice feature where you don't have to go into Bing or into the Google search and type in, and then you get a whole bunch of websites. You don't know what those websites are, and so on. This kind of puts it all together is with AI. So it's a nice feature.
As long as you're on Bing, I just discovered today in my browsing and what I was doing, and with a pop-up from Microsoft, that at least for Android phones, you can now put Edge on your Android phone, and you can also put the Bing AI chat on your Android phone.
Yeah, I have the Bing button on my Android phone, but I didn't know you could put Edge in there too. I still use Chrome on it. Okay, let's go back to, let's minimize this. And we're back here. So we've got that covered. 3 of the world's most expensive phishing attacks and how they could have been prevented. And again, this page, for whatever reason, this website, I cannot get it to do the reading mode. So we'll bring it up with this. We'll make this 130% to make it bigger. And a number of high-profile cyber attacks in recent years have thrust cybersecurity back into the spotlight. In the light of the Hafnium hack, cybersecurity has become a major focus for many businesses. And so let's see what it says here. Kralian Bank falls victim to CEO fraud and loses 57 million. That's pounds, I guess, million. In 2016, Kralian Bank lost over 57 million when employees fell victim to a sophisticated social engineering email scam known as CEO fraud. the hacker was able to successfully gain access to the email account of a high-level executive. They managed to spoof the email account of the CEO by masking the sender as the CEO. The attacker then instructed the company's employees to transfer money into a bank account controlled by them, all the while posing as a high-level executive. To this day, the identity of the hackers remains unknown, despite the fact that an internal audit revealed the attack. Here's another one, 46 million pounds loss for FACC after successfully social engineering scam. Another email-based social engineering scam saw global aerospace company FACC lose 46 million pounds. Here's the CEO's email address. Here, the CEO's email address was infiltrated and used to dupe employees into transferring huge sums of money to a suspicious bank account. Unfortunately, an entry-level accounting employee ended up transferring the funds to the account under the impression that it was part of an acquisition project without doing their due diligence. The CEO and CFO were fired as a result of this hack. The company also sued them due to their failure to set up to adequate internal controls and to meet their obligations of collegial cooperation and supervision. So were these preventable? There's one thing all these attacks have in common: the lack of cybersecurity awareness amongst employees. Human intelligence and comprehension is the best defense against phishing attacks. In fact, if your employees have a great grasp of cyber literacy, your business can be protected from the most common cyber attacks that occur. So in other words, it boils down to human error, not the bad guys. It's the good guys that let the bad guys in and do whatever they're going to do. Because most of the time hackers use phishing attacks and they pose either as a person known to the business or a company known to you, like a partner, a customer, or a supplier. These sophisticated attacks can be difficult for users to spot. After all, we would naturally trust an email coming directly from the CEO of a company. So here are a few quick tips to help you prevent these attacks. Have a regular password change every 30, 60, or 90 days and use strong passwords. Install two-factor, of course, this is for a business. Install two-factor authentication for all employees. Enlist the help of a managed IT service business, which will hire the best and brightest minds in cybersecurity. Ensure all employees have taken cybersecurity awareness training and have regular security health checks, including testing for weaknesses in both systems and employee knowledge gaps. I don't know if she's on here now, but one of our regulars in the WinSig sent me a note saying that she got a request for, on an email, and I'm trying to think what the request was. It was something to the effect of to click on something to verify their account. And when I checked where it was coming from a company that checks cybersecurity for companies. So what it apparently was a test by the company that this person worked for to see if they would fall for a phishing email, which is a good thing for them to do, because if they have employees that fall for it, it's not going to hurt anything, and they can meet with that employee and give them some training. And if that still doesn't help them the next time they're checked, then they should be gone. But so it's usually somebody clicks on something in a phishing email and it happens. And I've gotten close to it a couple of times myself. I even wrote an article about one. It was just so real that I clicked on the link, and then I realized when it said you have to log in, and I said, no, that's not right. I'm going to go to the website. When I went to the website, the information was different. So just be very, very careful. But if you get bitten by a phishing attack, you're the problem, not the person who put it out there. You ate the bait. And that's why it's called phishing. All of you use PDF editors, or I'm sorry, use PDF readers. Not all of you use PDF editors. I can remember when CFCS was meeting in Edgewater High School. I was sitting next to Ted Goodwin, who's on here today, when there was a presentation on the from Adobe on PDFs and what they were and why they were so important. In their early days, what a PDF would do, it would make it so you didn't have to have a special program to read a document. If it was saved as a PDF, you would just use a PDF reader to read any document, and it couldn't be edited. It was the government assured that it was secure, and companies were starting to use PDFs and so on. And Ted suggested to the speaker that you should have the reader free, because at that point they were charging for it. And you know, they listened to Ted because it's now free. But now over the years, because of, I think, copyright laws, I'm not sure why, but now you can get all kinds of PDF readers and editors. As even in Word, you can open up a PDF with Word and it'll turn it into a Word document. But anyway, there are free PDF editors. These are programs that you can edit a PDF with. And there are some free ones. And this article talks about some of those free and rates them. So the first one, of course, is Adobe Acrobat Pro, is mentioned in the article, but that's going to run you $240 a year. So a lot of you don't have the Adobe product itself that produces and edits PDFs. Several years ago, I bought one of the last on computer versions of Adobe Acrobat that didn't have a subscription. You bought the software and you just keep using it. I've been using it for several years now, and I can go in and edit. I can make forms with it. And so I've gotten used to it, and I've never had to pay extra. Last year, I did test one. I'm trying to think of the name of the company, Foxit. And theirs was also, it was $100 and some dollars, but I had a year's use of it for free, and I loved it. But when I saw that it was almost $200 to a year after that, I stopped using it. And so I'm back to using the old version of Acrobat Pro, but it did a really nice job. But these are some programs that are available that you can edit any PDF or create any PDF using them. One is called PDF Candy, and it shows you the pros and cons in this article. I'm not going to go through each one. We're just going to mention them. If you're interested, you can go into the article and then take a look at these. And it's zero. In other words, it's free at PDF Candy. The next one is the Apple Preview PDF Editor. It's the best free PDF editor for Mac users. And so that's available. And there's some pros and there's cons. Limited native sharing options and only available to Mac users. And another one called Sarasota, I presume is how it's pronounced. A PDF editor, most versatile free PDF editor. Again, it's got some pros and cons. One of the cons is limited font options, which means it's going to have trouble with a font, or it's not going to reproduce that font if you try to do the editing. What to look for in a free PDF editor? Content editing. As its name indicates, let's make this bigger. Content editing, as its name indicates, a PDF editor primary function is to enable you to edit a document. That includes the ability to add and modify text, insert, resize, and remove images, and reorganize pages in the PDF. Most free PDF editors will let you perform these tasks, though many may impose daily limits on how many you can perform on or how many documents you can edit. Create, convert, and export PDFs. A common need for a PDF editor is to create PDFs from scanned hard copies or by converting digital documents. A good free PDF editor will be able to convert common file formats such as Word, JPEG, and HTML to a PDF and preserve the original formatting. It should also be able to export PDFs into other editable formats such as Word and PowerPoint, HTML, or plain text, maintaining the original files, hyperlinks, images, and other elements. And then also should be able to review and annotate. Most free PDF editors allow you to add comments and other annotations to PDF files during a review. Typical annotation tools include sticky notes, shapes, and drawing markup options. And then signatures, often all you need is a PDF editor is to sign a document. This used to be a premium feature only available on paid desktop editors, but more free PDF editors are allowing users to create and add electronic signatures to documents. And there's some facts that you can read through and so on. Some of you may never have a use for this, but some of you may have a use for it and never realize that you could get PDF editors and do some editing. Now, there are some conversion tools out there. One of the things I like to do for certain purposes is to take part of or all of a PDF, depending on how big it is. But let's say it's just a couple of paragraphs. I would like to do a screen capture of that and then make a JPEG out of it. Well, to make a screen capture and then a JPEG and then save it and then try to figure out where you saved it, where a lot of them, all you have to do is tell it to save it as a JPEG. And if it's several pages, it will make each page a separate JPEG. And I've done that many times, especially if somebody doesn't either have a PDF editor or you want to put it on Facebook. You can't put a PDF on Facebook. So a lot of times I'll do a PDF to JPEG and then post the JPEG as a picture in my in Facebook, and then people can see it and read it. So on that note, let's stop the share and see if there's some questions or any other questions that came up. Diane, you got your hand up on mute.
Yes, I do. The PDFs, oh, I hope I don't lose this thought. You were saying you were changing it to a JPEG. Is that just a matter of going in and say save to JPEG? Down in the file extension?
In the editor, usually in an editor, but
Well,
there's also
I'm not, let's say I don't have an editor. I'm just talking about a regular PDF that might be 3 pages long. Can I make that all a JPEG or I have to have an editor?
I don't believe you can.
Okay,
That may have changed, but I don't believe you can.
okay.
But,
And,
but there are some free services, and one of my uses EasyGIF. I think it's easygift.com, but it's not just GIFs. It can take like a PDF and change it to an image. You can, if you get a WebP, WEBP, and a program like Camtasia doesn't recognize those, you can go to that site, you upload the WBP file, download it as a JPEG, and you're all set. It's free, and it's very easy to use. And it's EasyGIF, and I think it's easygift.com.
okay, thank you. The other question was, and this may not matter to some people, what was the original idea of a PDF? Wasn't it so people could not change it?
That was one of the main
Part of it.
that was one of the main reasons. Another one was so you didn't have to have the program like say Word
When Word and OmniPro
yeah.
and Word, OmniPro, Lotus, that's
WordPerfect.
WordPerfect. When in the late 80s, early 90s, when none of them talked to each other,
Right.
PDF was developed because it's a portable document format. That's what PDF stands for.
Right.
And they were able to, no matter what it was written in, if you send it as a PDF, anybody could read it with the reader.
Anybody could read it. That was
Yeah.
another reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other option, I just wanted to mention, if you are working on a computer can do a screenshot. So you could have the document, each page of the document displayed, take a screenshot, it saves it as a JPEG. Do the second one, it saves it as a, so it wouldn't be this, you wouldn't have them all in the same image necessarily, although you could
Right.
combine it with another image editor. But a screenshot is another really easy way to create a JPEG from a document that's on your screen.
Absolutely.
That way
Anything
also-
is on your screen. Yeah.
Exactly,
Right.
anything that's on your screen, but the
Yeah,
screen,
like snipping tool. I use that all the time.
exactly. That's the way to do it. Easier than,
However, if your PDF was 3 pages long, you couldn't see all that on your screen, so you'd have to do each
right,
page.
you do it individually, and then you can use an image editor to combine the images
Okay,
if you needed to. But you can also send all 3 images separately to share with
as
somebody.
attachments, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. Stephanie, you got your hand up?
Yes, I have a program called PDF, 24 PDF, and it does all kinds of things, and it's been very easy and free, and I've been happy with it.
Okay, so it's another free PDF editor that wasn't in that article. Yeah, there are many of them out there, and some of them are, as she said, some of them are very good. And I've used a few. As I said, the one I really like is that Foxit one, because it did some editing things that I really liked, but I'm not going to spend almost $200 every year for something that I'll use once in a while. Stephen, how are you?
I'm doing good. A little late today. Sorry about that. The problem with creating JPEGs is that the JPEG files are so much larger than a PDF file.
Yeah, but there's certain times that I need to post something from a PDF file on, say, Facebook, and Facebook doesn't use PDFs. And so the best way to do it is to just take a picture of it, which is what I'm doing when I change it to PDF to a JPEG, and then post that up as a picture.
The other point I wanted to make, Huey, and I've made it before, a little while ago, when you could enlarge part of the screen, but not the part you wanted to enlarge. People forget the magnifying glass. It's built in to Windows. You just keep that in your little tray. You bring it up, you click on the plus sign, or you can click on Windows plus, that brings it up, and then you can Windows minus, bring your size back down. So handy. And it works. It will show through to everybody. So yeah, it's very, very handy. I used it.
Yeah.
So
The problem there, it's like me trying to fly an airplane. There's just too many buttons and too many dials, and I just I try to limit it, but still accomplish what I need to.
Indeed, okay.
It boils down to that. Okay, I think we got a couple of more articles that we can cover that I've got on a list, unless somebody has any other questions first. Remember, this can be on anything dealing with Windows or computers in general, and for the most part. Ted, you got to unmute again. If you got something to say, Ted, you got to unmute. All right, we'll come back to you.
By the way, while he's unmuting, the magnifying glass, in case you're not familiar with it, can be found in the Windows folder under Ease of Access, not under Accessories. So just go to Ease of Access and turn that on.
Yeah, and there's a real good one in the Power Toys as well.
Okay.
Okay, Ted, you're unmuted. All right, what you need?
When you get an email, you sometimes get a link that leads to a video. How can you somehow get the words from the video, the audio, so you could print it out or something?
Oh, that's easy. Easy peasy. Let's go share my screen. Well, I got to be careful here. I'll have to do one of mine so I don't get any problems here, but I'm going to not share my sound, and we'll share the screen, and we'll come over here and we'll go to YouTube. Got to be careful here. I don't want to jeopardize us. And then I'll go to, come on. Got a lot going on here.
Huey, while
Yeah.
you're going there, I have found that Word has an amazing transcriber. I had a client who had a little audio tape of her grandfather who had been involved in, he was a doctor, he was involved in setting up St. Jude's hospitals. And anyway, he was in Alaska, she was in South Carolina, and she did a phone call with him and recorded it. And I was able to input that audio in, and Word transcribed it beautifully. Not perfectly, but very nicely.
Well, nothing does them perfectly.
Exactly. But so that's another possibility for transcription of an audio. And you could play it, and you could be playing a video and have it transcribed from the video also. So options there.
What was the name of that file?
Word.
Oh,
Microsoft Word.
Well, for whatever reason, YouTube
Yeah,
is
it's
slow
not,
today.
it's
Oh,
it not be loading.
Yeah, let's do another one. Well, that was going to be an easy show, and now it's become an issue. Well, I wonder, let's close Edge out just in case that has anything to do with it.
We can do that during the Q&A of the main meeting.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to have to.
Closed at that point.
Yeah. All right. Good point. Let's move on to something else here. Let's see. This is what we were talking about, the PDF editors. And oh, this is a good one to end with. Although there's one on word tips that I won't get to. But I keep getting ads on Facebook for Temu and all kinds of really neat things, real cheap. And I know they're a Chinese organization, but I asked people, and all kinds of people, friends of mine said, oh yeah, I've ordered from them with no problem at all, and I've gotten it. And so I went ahead and I think I ordered 2 or 3 things that it came to a little over $10. And I said, well, I'll see, for $10, I'll try them. And I got them within the time that they said. It came in a nice package, and there was nothing wrong with the items. They were, they were cheap, but they were cheap. And shortly after that, I saw this. I've seen some articles that said this Temu is a Chinese company that has an office in Boston. And so it makes it look like it's an American company, but it's actually a Chinese company. But Kim Commando, and if you're not familiar with her, and that is her true name, by the way, she does all kinds of, she's got a weekly show, she's got daily tips that she produces, and just all kinds of things. She's really, and been around several years, and she's usually pretty good on assessing and talking about and recommending things. Although some of the things she recommends, they're sponsors. So, but she usually tells you that too. But she talks about Temu and where they come from. Well, the app isn't some fly-by-night operation. It's pronounced Temu. It's based in Boston, Massachusetts by PDD Holdings. But PDD is headquartered in Shanghai, China. It also owns the e-commerce platform, oh boy, Pinduoduo, headquartered in, you guessed it, China. And more, and so she talks about Pinduoduo later, Duo. But over 50 million Americans have downloaded Temu since it launched its stateside September 22nd, 2022. You might remember its expensive Super Bowl ads promising to let you shop like a billionaire. And some things you need to know before using it. First, you're buying goods directly from the manufacturers in China and other parts of the world. That's why shipping times are often much longer than on sites like Amazon. You might get your stuff in a week, but it most likely is about 12 days, which is not bad for some of the stuff shipped from China. But for the most part, the prices are low because the goods are cheap. And I mean cheap, not only inexpensive, but cheap. The pictures of what you see advertised may not be what you actually get. Online reviewers seem to agree. Cheap is nice, but when the quality is too shoddy to use, Temu's Better Business Bureau rating is 2.21 out of 5, and so on. But it gets worse. Temu isn't unique in all of the info it wants to capture from your phone. Most apps out there want as much as you'll give up, but considering its ties to communist China, the permissions seem even more frightening to Kim Commando. Temu collects, among other things, the info you provide, like your name, address, and phone number, details you enter, like your birthday, your photo media profiles, and also your phone or computer's operating system and version, IP address, GPS location, if you allow it, and browsing data. They also gather more about you from third-party sources, including Temu sellers, public records, social media, data brokers, credit bureaus, and marketing partners. Americans using Temu are selling the country out for bargains that really aren't worth it. So I say delete it, and then it tells you how to do it. If it's an app you've installed on your phone, you definitely want to delete it. Even though the prices are good and some of the items are kind of neat, although I did buy a mouse that doesn't seem to want to keep the battery in place. And so it really doesn't work for it. I paid, I think, $3 or $4 for it. Nice mouse, but it's useless. Anyway, so if you've got Temu, the Temu app, not buying something from Temu isn't enough, remove the app from your phone. And since it's 2:43, I am going to stop the share, see if there's any final questions. We'll do the come out, and then we'll Jalin, your hand is up.
Yeah, just real quick. I just wanted to say thank you for that info on Temu, because it's something that I've looked at, and I keep getting those ads. And I just have always been a little bit wary of it. I said, I don't think so. So thank you very much to confirm that. And I'm going to share that one, definitely share that with the computer club.
Yeah, and I've shared it with several, and a lot of people
Thank
have.
you. Good session, guys.
Good session. Thank you. I've also, I get a lot of ads for these toasters that are all fancy and electronic for $35. Which sounds like a lot of money for a toaster, but the same toaster sells on Amazon for $350. Well, how can they do that? Well, they can do it very easily. They can sell it for that, but you don't get it. Bill James decided to try it for the $35. He never got it. They got his $35. And so a lot of times I see some of these things. I saw something else that was, I think it was about $15. I went on Amazon. It was like $150 to $200. And they were selling it for $15. It would be the same kind of thing. So you really got to be careful on the ads on social media, because they can post anything they want. And some of them, you may get something. I ordered a countertop ice machine, which normally sells for $300 or $400. I think it was on sale for $25, $30, and I got a watch. And, so they can say, well, we sent it to you, but, and I can say, no, you didn't. And, well, yeah, here's the receipt. I got the item. And I can say, well, it wasn't the item, but they're in China. Steve Hall, you have the final word.
Yes, and I'm going to contradict what was just said to some degree. I do not have the Temu app, but I have purchased numerous things from Temu. I've had nothing but the best service, actually, good quality products, actually. I think Google tracks the same as Temu. I mean, they track what you do. If you go to YouTube, in some ways, I really like it because they show you what they know you want to see. Mm-hmm. So as long as you know that, then you have to be a little bit careful about what it is you want to see. But gosh, I've had nothing but good experience from them. In fact, they let me know when things have shipped. They let me know when it should arrive. It's almost as good as Amazon, not quite. I mean, I get stuff from Amazon using Prime in like one day. It's just amazing. So, but gosh, I got an external DVD player and recorder from them. It was dirt cheap, worked perfectly. Just a few other little gadgets, but I just bought a mask and snorkel from Walmart, made in China. I just bought a new.
Oh no, all things are made in China, but your information when you purchase it at Walmart, China isn't getting the information on who bought it and who owns it and what they do and so on. That's the biggest problem with Temu is the Chinese government is actually collecting this data. It's not Google for advertising purposes.
Yeah, well,
we don't know why they're.
But I didn't send my picture and all the things you talked about. Yes, they have my email address, obviously, so that we can communicate, but not the other things. Now, maybe the app requires all that, but I don't use the app. And I buy stuff on my computer, not on my cell phone.
Well, it's, a lot of us heed some of these warnings and some, I ordered and I don't feel threatened by it and I might do it again, but I'm certainly not going to do it through the app.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
Yep.
So I appreciate it.
And I want to say this has been the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group, or WinSIG, or Windows Special Interest Group, for Sunday, July 9th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock. I'm glad you joined us today. We've had some good discussions. We've had some good information, and we'll see you next month.